All right, today we're diving into something big, a really huge shift happening in AI and marketing. We're talking about the move from AI that just helps us out to AI that actually acts for us. Let's get right into it. So let's start with a question that probably hits home for a lot of us. Why is it that most of the marketing we see every single day just feels like noise? You know, you're scrolling and you just fly right past it without even thinking. Well, the answer is pretty simple, actually. We are in a full-blown relevance crisis. The old way of doing things, just churning out more and more content, even with AI's help, is totally broken. It's just creating this giant digital landfill of generic stuff that nobody connects with, mainly because our ability to pay attention is just collapsing. And I'm not kidding about that. The average human attention span is now down to just 8.25 seconds. You know what that means? That's officially less than a goldfish. So in a world like this, there's only one thing that works: hyper-relevance. Your message has to be perfectly tuned to the person seeing it. Otherwise, it's basically invisible. So that brings us to the big why, right? Why is the current model failing so badly? Well, it's because we're at the end of an era, the co-pilot era, where AI is just a helpful assistant, has pretty much hit its ceiling. And this chart just shows it all perfectly. Take a look at the market value here. See that blue area? That's the generative assistance. And it's getting totally squeezed out by that rising pink wave of agentic systems. And look at that date, 2026. That's what they're calling the agentic tipping point. That's when autonomous AI is set to take over. This is a fundamental change from AI helping humans to AI just doing the job itself. And if you're wondering if this is just some theory, all you gotta do is follow the money. In the first half of 2025 alone, VCs poured $2.8 billion into agentic AI. This isn't some trend that's coming in the future, it's a massive shift in capital that's happening right now. The smart money is betting on autonomy. Okay, so if the old way is dead, how do we actually get to this hyper-relevance we're talking about? How do we do it at scale? The solution is really a whole new paradigm, built on two core pillars: a totally new way to understand your customers and a fundamentally different way to build the tech. For like decades, marketing has all been about demographics, basic stuff like your age or your zip code. It's all about who you are. The new way of thinking is all about psychometrics. It uses these proven psychological frameworks like Ocean or DISC to understand how you think. It's not about who you are, it's about targeting your personality, what motivates you, how you make decisions. And here's the proof in the pudding. The performance jump is just massive. Campaigns that used this psychometric targeting saw a 40% lift in conversions and a 50% lift in click-throughs. I mean, those are numbers you just can't argue with. It turns out when you talk to people in a way that matches how their brain is wired, things just work way, way better. So one of the coolest ways this all comes to life is this thing called the AI brand twin. Just imagine an AI agent that's been trained to think and react exactly like your perfect customer. So before you spend a single dime on ads, you can test thousands of different ideas against this synthetic focus group to find out what actually works. It's an incredible way to guarantee relevance and just stop wasting money. But look, to do any of this, you need access to really sensitive customer data. And that, of course, brings up huge security red flags. This is where the big architectural shift comes in. And it's all based on this principle called data gravity. Put simply, it just means you have to bring your AI tools to the data and not the other way around. You don't pull sensitive data out to your apps. This diagram shows you exactly how it works. It's actually pretty brilliant. The whole platform runs inside the customer's own secure data cloud. You see that? The customer data never ever leaves that blue security border. This one simple idea solves the single biggest problem stopping big companies from adopting AI: data privacy and governance. All right, so now let's talk about the what. What's the business outcome of all this? Because, a revolutionary technology is really only as good as its business model. And this part right here, this is the real game changer. In the old AI software model, the company selling the software has to pay for all the insanely expensive computer power to run the AI. This new model completely flips that script. Because the app runs in the customer's world, the customer pays for the compute directly. So what does that do for the business? Well, the financial impact is just staggering. This chart says it all. A normal Gen AI company is lucky to get a 60% gross margin because they're bleeding cash on infrastructure. By shifting that cost, this new model can hit margins of 90%. That's not just a little better. It's a structurally superior, more profitable business from the ground up. So let's just tie this all together. This whole new approach really gives you three massive advantages. First, you get hyper-relevance at an industrial scale by finally understanding how customers actually think. Second, you get rock-solid, zero-trust security because the data never moves. And third, you get a superior business model with absolutely killer margins and ROI. At the end of the day, this isn't just about building another tool for marketing. The real vision here is much bigger. It's about architecting the system of agency for the entire enterprise. Think of it as a foundational layer that lets businesses use autonomous agents to do all sorts of complex jobs, starting with marketing. So the real question for every company out there is, are you ready for a world that's run by agents and not just by campaigns?